Okay, so let's have a look at this 3.6 assessment. This is my version I made looking at Tuckerman Grammar School parking. So we've got to think about the issue, and the issue here is that there is lack of parking at Tuckerman Grammar School. So all of your assessments must be based on an issue, something that is a problem. So here's where I talk about the issue very briefly, showing a map of where things are. You must have a map on this. It makes a lot of sense to have a map on a geography assessment, obviously. So make sure you put a map on there. How the issue is geographic, we can look at it socially, economically, environmentally. Remember, social is about people, and it should say people feel. Economic is about the cost, so there should be some dollars attached to it. And environmental can be air pollution, noise pollution, visual pollution. It could be water pollution. So that's how we're looking at the effects of it, how it's geographic. Also, we need to look at some important geographic concepts. Accessibility is usually one of the most important ones you can look at. So accessibility should be a factor for most things we're looking at. This one here, it should say concepts. Change is a pretty simple one as well. You only need to do one concept to show how it's geographic. So that's the bit looking at how it's geographic. We'd then go on to our options to solve the problem. Remember, you need to have two options. So option 1 for me was a 3-story car park on the front field. Option 2, a 2-story car park on the back field. So make sure you have two options to solve your issue. Then I've got a look at where it's going to be. Then a description of what option 1 is. Some positives and some negatives. Making sure I have specific dollar values in here, and I have specific dollar values in the negatives also. So making sure we have specifics in both the positives and negatives will help us to score well on this part. Bit of a picture of where the option will be occurring. Option 2, brief description. A photo of looking where option 2 will be. You may be able to get some pictures directly from the council or from the developers, or off the web of what yours are actually going to look like. I had to make one up because mine's not an actual thing. Option 2 has some positives and negatives. Again, I've got some specifics, the 150 metres by 150 metres, the cost, and the cost of construction. Looking for specifics all the way through here. Some viewpoints. I talked to some people, interviewed them. Now the big thing here is you need to say why they think like they do. So the first person has a social viewpoint. She's directly involved. Then I'd go on to explain why they're directly involved, how they're directly involved, and why they think like they do. That's the really important bit for the viewpoints, why they think like they are. The second person there, who's an ex-rugby player, he thinks that way because he used to play rugby here and wouldn't like it to go because it's part of the history of the area. Okay, so it's saying why he thinks that way. And again for the other two. Then I move into my description of the best option. I make a judgment, say option 2 is the best. Back it up with some people's opinions, like Mr. Scombe there, someone I interviewed. Then looking at comparing my option, the one I like, to the other option. You know, why it's better, it's less than, it's more than, it costs more, it's bigger, it blocks out less things, that sort of thing. Economically down the bottom, I said it could earn $300 a day, so we've got some specifics in there. Going through for the best option, looking at the other options and why they're not so great. Continuing on with why 1 and 2 are not so good and why my one is the best. I make my judgment, and at the end there I say option 2 should be constructed. So I'm looking at why it should be constructed. I'm looking at why it's better than the others. If you want to use this outline, which is on the knowledge net, to organise how your slides will be, it's a really good idea. Remember, we start with what the option is, what the problem is. We have a look where it is. We have a look at how it's geographic. We then go through to what the different options are to solve it. Each of those needs to have specific information: costs, names of places, roads, people it would impact, wildlife, anything like that. Specific names in there somewhere. Then we go through to make our decision about which one should be constructed or which one should be done. We must compare it to the other ones to make sure we're making a fully justified decision. Okay, so hopefully that will help you out with your 3.6. Remember to make sure it needs to be on a thumb drive, a USB drive, because you can't log into your school network to get it. Also make sure you check on the library computers that it works before you bring it to me. If it doesn't work, you'll have to find another time to do it.